Guys, it's good to see you. Welcome to Rapid Resale. I'm going to go over today. It's going to be a what sold video. I've got 14 orders going out. So I just want to go through each item with you guys, things that you guys can be looking for. So primarily I focus on vintage toys and video games, and I do plush if I can get to the bins, but recently it's been hard for me to get to the bins because in order to get the best plush and the best toys and the best of everything at the beginning, you need to get to the bins like right when it opens. And I dropped my son off at his daycare at like 9, and the bins opens at 9, and I'm about 10 minutes away. So I think like the level of plush that I was getting last year when it opened at 11 is kind of gone down some. So I'm kind of getting, not the best stuff. So I haven't been going there as much and been changing my routine, but I've kind of diversed a little bit. But let me go through some of the stuff that I've sold. So first up, we have an Atari game, Pac-Man. You guys can see that it's really not in the best condition. We've got some color wear, a little bit of peeling on the label, but this sold for I think around like $9.99 free ship. So most Atari games aren't amazing sellers, but there are a few, like I think it's Sword Quest for the Atari, that is like $100 game. But if you're to generalize, video game consoles and the games that sell the best, I wouldn't say if you see an Atari, really know that you can't really be spending too much on it. But the games, just to kind of fill in my store, have things moving, I list Atari games that are, I don't know, $8.99 free ship, just to kind of, if I'm feeling more lazy and I don't have time to put in the extra effort to list other things. And then I also sold one other game for the Atari. This is a better game. I think this sold for I think 10 plus ship. So you can see on this one, this is not a pristine cartridge. We've got sun wear, or water staining. It's probably not sun, just some water staining. Sticker's okay. And it does, I think it matters for people who buy these if they have this bottom sticker. And a lot of times this bottom sticker comes off. So definitely, if you're picking up an Atari lot, this is a game that is good to sell. And it went quick because I priced it low. That's usually my philosophy when it comes to video games, is just to try to pay as low as I can. And I price it at the bottom of the market. I was just reaching out to somebody on Instagram who was selling some video games that seemed to be more like he was in the middle of the market. And I asked him, how is he moving that stuff? And it looked like he was promoting at a high level. So I don't know whether I should run the numbers to see if promoting higher would be better for my business. But as of right now, I'm pricing at the bottom of the market. This stuff is moving quickly. I'm not holding on to it very long, and I'm still in the profit on everything. So guys, this next sale is a bolo. Now, the item that I have has condition issues, so the price that I got is not the top of the market. But so if you see this little face, I don't think it's always in pajamas like this, but this is the logo you want to be looking out for. It's Jammy Pies. It's kind of this rubber face, painted on. You can kind of see the general size of it. But the reason that this only sold for, I think it was around 50 something or $49 free ship, was that it was missing, the stitching was off on the back here. I could have probably tried to fix it, but it's pretty picked all over. So, and it's dirty and I didn't want to clean it. So, it was definitely worth, I paid a lot less than $1 for it. So another great sale. So We got a lot more video games going out today. Some massive bolos when it comes to video games. Now, Game Boy Advance games, I love to sell Game Boy Advance games, DS games, Game Boy Color games. These portable games, they take up no room in my inventory, and they sell fast, and some of them sell for crazy money. So if you're seeing a lot at a yard sale or a Goodwill, a lot of times Goodwill prices them up. So most of the time you're finding this stuff at a yard sale on Marketplace. You're looking for, of course, Pokemon, you're looking for Mario, and you're looking for RPG type games. If you're trying to get into video games and you don't know anything about it, I would go to pricecharting.com and I would sort it from highest to lowest based on console, and you can see the value of all the games, all the special releases and what they're selling for on eBay, and it uses eBay solds to get their value, and it has it broken down based off of if the video game is just the cartridge, if the video game is just the manual, if it's complete, which means that it has the game, the manual, and the case, and with sometimes it's N64 games, it's actual box. But I want to start making some videos that do deeper dives into some of the stuff that I sell and other things that interest me. But so guys, I divert a lot, but this game is a major bolo. Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance. And then I sold another Fire Emblem to the same customer, and they both sold for $60. So it took, I priced it on the bottom of the market, not the very bottom of the market, but pretty low, and it still took a little bit to sell. I picked up a bunch of video games, and they were like all extremely good Game Boy Advance games and DS games, just very, very good. And they haven't sold quite as fast as I thought I would get that money back. But they're still selling fine. Another sale, a DS game to look out for, is Ace Attorney. This game, there's a bunch of different versions, and the prices, range on each version. And this one I think sold for $30 or $40. So the last video game I'm going to talk about in today's video is going to be a bolo Pokemon game that you guys need to be looking out for. It sold for around $100. It's green, and it's the Mystery Dungeons Explorers of the Sky. This game is not very common, and it sells for great money. Memorize that logo. It'll make you a lot of money. All right, guys. So now we're going to start to go into some of the toys that sold. So one of the things that I like to sell the most, besides these DS and Game Boy Advance games, because they're so small, but I also like to sell small accessories for vintage toys, because I can fit just hundreds of listed inventory into a small tote box, and it takes up nothing in my garage, and I can boost so many listings, and the demand for these vintage toys is high, especially if you undercut the market, which is what I usually tend to do. And it doesn't take anything to ship them, and I just really have a passion for vintage toys and connecting these collectors with the missing authentic pieces that they're looking for. So one of the first things of the accessories that I sold for this time, this is Batman, the animated series. This is actually his combat belt. So we do have some imperfections in it. I'm not really sure what these little brownish dots on there are. I couldn't remove them, but it still sold for $24. I think that was free ship. But but the Batman, the animated series, is a bolo in the action figure community. It's a very, very hot selling toy from the 90s, especially if you find it on card, which means that it's new. It will sell for great money. One of the other accessories that I sold were these. I bought a big lot of Monster High dolls. Of course, oftentimes when you buy lots of stuff, all the accessories don't go with the dolls that I had. I had a lot of dolls that were missing accessories, and I had a lot of accessories that didn't go with the dolls. So I had some shoes from one of the Monster High dolls named Venus McFlytrap. Her boots sold for, I think it was around $4.99 plus shipping. So, and that's the other reason why I like to sell accessories, is that oftentimes I'm selling these accessories plus shipping. So I'm usually making a little bit of money on the shipping, and then I'm making the money on the list price of the item, which is what I like better, because oftentimes when I'm competing against a lot of people in the video game community, I'm doing $7.99 free ship, sometimes $6.99 free ship, and that's just, at the end of the day, it's not really worth my time. So I would much rather sell accessories. It doesn't it's just 2 pictures and boom. So another vintage toy I sold was a G1 Overdrive. I think it was near complete. So, and you can see maybe these little tiny accessories. This one got a lot of interest because these accessories are they're hard to find. I mean, oftentimes these G1 Transformers, something on them is broken. This was the first Transformer lot that I bought. It came with a lot of modern Transformers, but I saw in the box that it had the original G1 diskettes, which are these tiny little discs that transform into animals. And so I've sorted through that pile, and this was one of the guys on that. I think I paid $40 for all of it, and this guy sold for $40. I've way more than made my profit on that buy. But that was kind of my introduction into G1 Transformers. And another thing, guys, I'm moving on to the next one. So the next one is a toy line that I don't know if a lot of people know that it has pretty good demand, and that is tech decks. Now, I'm not talking about the modern day tech decks that you can buy at at Target or Walmart. And the way that you can tell if it's a vintage tech deck is that the lettering, it goes this way. It's parallel with the board, I guess, not perpendicular. And if you see a bunch of tech decks at a yard sale or something, make sure this is the way the lettering is going. Also, if you're seeing a whole lot of tech decks, you also want to look for things like Blind, which is a skateboarding brand, World Industries. There's a lot of them that weren't made as many, and a lot of people like to collect certain graphics. There was a lot of amazing artists that are still doing a lot of work with skateboards, and I'm a big fan of a lot of the artwork that's on the bottom of these. And so collectors will have this, I think it's 98 centimeters, and then they'll have the handboard, which is the larger version, which is like this, and it will have the same pattern. And then they will collect the standard skateboard that you would use. And that's what I found out through like a skateboarding community group on Facebook. So I love another toy that I love to sell and source. You can usually get it for not that much money. But I also had a lot of vintage tech decks too, so it has like a special spot in my heart. So one of the final toys for today is the second G.I. Joe figure that I've sold. I knew when I listed this guy, he was going to sell really quick. He's in really good condition. He's complete. He's got all of his accessories. And this is Alley Viper. Card is immaculate. Oftentimes when you're looking at these vintage G.I. Joes, you're looking for, do they have cracking in the elbows? This is I think it's a 3-part elbow. And then you're also looking to see if the screws are rusted through play. Oftentimes kids would play with, these are kids' toys. They would play with them in water, and then the screws would rust. But also a lot of times they're actually missing the middle portion, which is their torso and their legs, because there's a rubber band inside that gets warped and breaks, and then they no longer have their torso or their legs. So this guy had everything. I was able to find all of his accessories, even his small little mask on the top. So of course, collectors, this isn't a super rare, valuable Joe, but it is complete. So the demand was pretty good. I mean, I had 3 watchers on it in a day, and it sold for full price at, I think it was $34 or something. So second G.I. Joe, I'm going to be going through with you guys. I have just probably 60 G.I. Joes to fix, match with their accessories if I can find it, and their card, and then list those. So that concludes the toy portion. I did have one more stuffed animal that sold that I wanted to show you guys. So another bolo in the plush are Angry Bird stuff. I don't know how big that is for you guys, but this guy is massive. Pretty happy to get rid of this guy. He was taking up a lot of room. He had tons and tons of watchers, but nobody would pull the trigger on him. Finally, someone around Christmas time has pulled the trigger, and he's going out the door. Not all Angry Bird plush are worth a lot of money. He sold for about $40. There are Angry Bird plush that have like crowns and stuff that sell for hundreds of dollars. You can look on eBay to see for yourself, but if you're out and about and you see an Angry Bird plush for cheap and it looks kind of unusual or a little bit different than just say your run-of-the-mill red one, I'm not sure what their names are, I would definitely pick it up. And so the final thing I want to talk to you guys about is something that I kind of stumbled into reselling that has been really great for my business, is vintage computer stuff. Especially this past year, I picked up a Macintosh 128K, which is one of the most desirable Macintosh computers that you can get for collectors. Unfortunately, the one that I picked up, it didn't work. So it was kind of a funny story. I hooked it up, and I didn't realize that something was going to happen with the capacitor when I plugged it in. It popped, it started smoking, it filled this whole garage full of smoke. I started freaking out and took it outside because I didn't know if it had started a fire. But I left it outside for a little bit and did some research and realized it was just the capacitor. So I listed it on eBay, explaining to the potential buyer of what had happened, that it probably just needed a capacitor replacement. And it still sold for like $100. But if you have like the Macintosh 128K, complete keyboard, mouse, original paperwork, which I had, all of that stuff. I mean, there's people that have listed it for like $6,000. I don't know if they're going to get that on eBay, but that's these computer companies that specialize in vintage computers and making sure that everything on it works. So they've got them listed for $6,000 to $7,000 for these collectors. So I diverse again, but that's kind of what I do. So the last one that I want to talk about is just an obscure software for the Macintosh 128K called QuarkXPress. I'm sure you don't know what it is. I didn't know what it was either, unless you're really into vintage computing. It looks to be complete, but I have a collector that is following everything that I post onto eBay, and I kind of figured out what he likes to pay. There was nothing on Terapeak or anything for me to get an idea of where to be on this. So I started off at like $175 free ship. And I had a couple watchers, sent out an offer. Nobody pulled the trigger. I had a feeling this customer likes when I have the vintage computing stuff. He likes the boxes. I have a lot of computer stuff that doesn't have the original box. But it's just for people that want to have access to that old software for their interests, for their hobbies. But to me, it sounds like this potential, or this buyer that has bought a lot from me, he likes having this casing in his collection and all the original paperwork and everything. So I relisted him yesterday for $150 free ship, and it sold. So that was one of the last things that sold for me. Really great sale. All the sales have been really good, pushing my numbers back up to where I like it. Being sick has really slowed my store down a little bit for the past couple weeks, but now with regular listing and, ending and selling similar, the stuff is moving again, and I'm really happy. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to What's Sold, and I will see you guys on the next video. All right, thanks. Bye.